The central, deeply private barrier to late-life connection is that the very person you have shared your life with for decades can suddenly feel like a stranger the moment you attempt to bridge a long-standing gap in physical affection. You know, it's this quiet paradox that so many couples experience, but almost never talk about.
If that sentence hits home for you, I really want you to hear this. You are so far from alone. That feeling, that strange, clumsy hesitation with the person you know better than anyone on earth, well, it's not a sign that you've done something wrong or that the love is gone. It's actually a recognized biological thing. It even has a name, intimacy rust. It's what happens after a pause in physical connection, and today we're going to unpack the science behind it, and more importantly, show you a gentle, really practical way back to that warmth.
So, what is actually going on inside our brains when a simple touch suddenly feels, well, so complicated? The answer isn't really about your feelings, it's about your neurology. This awkwardness is a totally predictable biological response, and just understanding the mechanics is the first big step. This isn't about desire or commitment, it's about the literal wiring in our nervous system.
Okay, the key idea here is neural pruning. Just think of your brain as a super efficient gardener. The pathways it uses all the time, like a daily hug or holding hands, it keeps those paths clear and strong. But when those actions stop for a while, maybe because of an illness or stress or just a slow drift in routine, the brain starts to prune those unused connections to save energy. So when you try to initiate that touch again, your brain has to find this dusty, overgrown path. That hesitation, that feeling of it being forced, that's you physically feeling your brain trying to reconnect a circuit. It's a structural thing, not an emotional one.
Now, on top of this neural rust, there's a psychological thing that happens called the spectatoring effect. This is when you're no longer in the moment. You're kind of hovering above it, watching yourself like you're in a movie. You're thinking, am I doing this right? Is this weird? They probably think this is awkward. And that inner voice just creates this awful loop of anxiety. It pulls you right out of your body and into your head, which makes a real spontaneous connection basically impossible. You can't feel the warmth of a hand on your back if you're too busy analyzing it.
And this is where the biology really breaks down. See, regular, safe physical touch releases a hormone called oxytocin. You've probably heard it called the bonding hormone. It makes you feel trusting and calm and connected, which then makes you want more connection. It's a great feedback loop. But when that routine gets broken, the loop is interrupted, and trying to restart it can feel so strange that the brain actually flags it as novelty stress. So instead of releasing that comforting oxytocin, it might dish out a little cortisol, the stress hormone, making the whole thing feel tense instead of relaxing.
So if that old language of touch feels all rusty and awkward, the answer isn't to just force it and push through. The solution is to learn a new one. Or maybe it's better to say, reteach our nervous systems the language they already know, but in a much gentler, safer way that fits who we are today. It's all about building a new foundation of trust, one tiny sensory step at a time.
And this new language has a framework. It's called the Sensory Reentry Protocol, or SRP. You can think of it like physical therapy for your relationship's physical side. It's a structured system, totally backed by science, and it's designed specifically to get rid of that intimacy rust. Now, the most important words here are low stakes and non-demand. The entire point is to take all the pressure off and just let your nervous systems slowly and safely get used to each other again.
The SRP has 3 basic rules. First, non-demand touch. This one's a game changer. It means any touch has no goal. It's not leading to anything else. A hug is just a hug. When you remove that finish line, the performance anxiety just melts away. Second, verbal scripting. This is all about giving yourself permission to just say the awkward thing out loud. Something as simple as, this feels a little unfamiliar, but it's nice, totally deflates the awkwardness. And third, contextual neutrality. This just means you practice in neutral spaces, like in the kitchen while making coffee or on the couch watching TV, anywhere but the bedroom, which can feel loaded with expectations.
Okay, so we get the principles, right? No pressure, be honest, and find neutral spaces. But what does that actually look like? How do you do it? Let's move from the what to the how. These are the concrete, actionable things you can start doing to rebuild that physical bond in a way that feels safe.
So the protocol lays out 4 really clear steps. First, we're going to talk about the 6-second hug, which is this amazing little biological hack. Second, there's practicing sensation focus, which is a mindfulness trick to get you out of your head and stop that spectatoring thing we talked about. Third is setting up a micro-affection quota, which sounds technical, but it's just about agreeing to small, consistent check-ins to keep those brain pathways open. And finally, and this one is so important,
having the new operating manual talk to make sure you're both on the same page about what feels good today.
All right, so why 6 seconds? It sounds so specific, doesn't it? But there's real science here. Researchers have found it takes a minimum of 6 seconds of a real intentional hug for your brain to start releasing that incredible bonding hormone, oxytocin. A quick 1-second hug is just a greeting, right? But a 6-second hug is a biological signal. It's telling your nervous system, hey, you are safe, you are connected. It's honestly the simplest, most effective way to restart that positive oxytocin loop.
And a new operating manual talk might just be the most powerful step of all. I mean, think about it. Our bodies change. Our preferences change. The way you connected when you were 30 might not be what feels best at 70. This conversation isn't about listing problems. It's a collaborative update. It's about sharing what feels safe and comfortable and good right now. It replaces guessing with knowing, and that just massively reduces the fear of getting it wrong for both of you. You're creating a new map together.
And all of this brings us to the real heart of it. The steps are the tools, sure, but the real change happens inside. It's about shifting your mindset away from performance and toward just presence. This is the core idea, the thing that makes it all work for the long haul.
Let's just look at the two side by side. The performance mindset is all about a goal. It's driven by anxiety, it's terrified of failure, and it leads straight to watching yourself from the outside. But the presence mindset, the one we're aiming for, is just focused on sensation. It just asks, what do I feel? The warmth of their hand? The texture of their sweater? It's grounded in safety, not fear. And it can't fail because there's no goal to miss. It embraces vulnerability, and that's what creates real connection.
You know, real connection isn't rebuilt with perfect technique. It's rebuilt in those moments of shared imperfection. It's having the courage to say, I feel a little rusty at this, and hearing your partner say, me too. That shared honesty, that's what smooths the path forward. It makes it safe to just be human together, and that feeling of safety is what all true intimacy is built on. Okay, we've gone through the science, the psychology, the practical steps. Now let's bring it all together into one final, simple takeaway. This is about taking all this understanding and turning it into a single, powerful action.
First, and if you remember nothing else, please remember this. That awkward feeling is a structural neural response to a break in routine. It is not a report card on your value, your partner's value, or the health of your relationship. You're not broken. A pathway just needs to be cleared. Second, the most powerful tool for clearing that path is non-demand touch. When you remove the expectation of what comes next, you give your nervous systems the incredible gift of safety. You create a space where connection can just grow again without any pressure.
And what's the simplest way to signal that safety? The 6-second hug. It's like making a direct deposit of trust and connection right into your relationship's biological bank account. It's a tiny act that has a huge neurological effect, kickstarting that oxytocin loop all over again.
And finally, know that by choosing to rebuild your connection with patience and with presence, you are doing so much more than just relearning touch. You are actively securing the emotional sanctuary and the physical comfort that you both absolutely deserve in this chapter of your lives. It's a journey of rediscovery, not a performance.
So, here is your gentle invitation. Sometime tomorrow, with no other goal than just to connect, initiate one 6-second hug. Feel your feet on the floor, notice your breath, and just be there for those 6 seconds. That one simple act can be the beginning of a beautiful recalibration.